What it do, everybody? It's your boy, King Crowder, checking back in again with another edition of History You May Not Know, and history that has not been told in detail, for sure. Today's lesson, we'll be focusing on blacks in the Everglades of Florida. Now, we have already broke down how St. Augustine was the first freed colony where blacks that escaped enslavement went to. Now we will have the Everglades of Florida, when they were completely self-sufficient places and locations around. Blacks mostly lived in the Flamingo district inside the Everglades, but in this territory, you must understand, this was a black freedmen during slavery. Most people have never heard of this concept. They were completely self-sufficient, self-reliant, self-regulating, self-everything in the Everglades of Florida. While even the Spanish conquistadors conquered this region, white people from the north, the Anglo-Saxons, had very much a problem with this because this was a stark symbol that blacks who were enslaved could go and be self-sufficient. Most people do not know that even during our first president's writing, he would reference the Everglades being an issue. Number one, they were a safe havens towards freedom and former enslavement, getting freedom. We always hear the northern part of the Underground Railroad being championed. Most people do not know that the southern part also had one. So when informally enslaved individuals would escape slavery, I always wondered around that time in history, how did they go north all the way from Georgia with no cars? Sounds incredibly difficult, right? Yes, because they were moving south to Florida. They had Everglades, St. Augustine, Fort Muse, plenty of places that were a haven for them to live and prosper and become freedom on their own. They were already skilled craftsmen and organizers about working on these plantations, because all the plantations in the South were abolished because all the blacks down there burned them down. If you have never noticed throughout history right now, there are no slave plantations in the South. That is because those freely enslaved individuals, those blacks living in the Everglades, St. Augustine, burned the plantations to the ground. They let them know that this will not stand in this region. The one phenomenal thing that we do not discuss is how the Everglades had their own military prowess. So we saw over time how they became such a big deal because of the writings and the tree leaves of those speaking on the Everglades at this time. George Washington, our first president, famously said, the Everglades are becoming a problem within the United States. They are becoming a problem because they have produced things and they are taking things from us. The Everglades of Florida was a stronghold. It was even while the 13 colonies existed, the Everglades was free. Let me repeat that again. Even during the height of antebellum slavery, the 13 colonies, the Everglades of the black lands were free. Most people do not know this part of United States history because it is not taught and educated to us enough. We are preached that it's only one way that was happening. Another reason why I wanted to highlight the Everglades of Florida, because this community was around the same time that we saw the Black Seminoles going against the United States Army and battling them. These type of protectors at this time fought against the strongest military in the land and successfully won. Let me repeat that again. The Everglades, Florida had a self-sufficient environment where their soldiers literally beat the U.S. government. Over time, we saw it dissipate and slow down population due to environmental racism. What they did was they zoned them out, damaged the water, polluted it, damaged the crops, and made the living conditions unlivable. Still some stayed and still some persisted, but the population depleted over time. This stronghold of blacks in the Everglades of Florida lasted for almost 100, maybe even 200 years, some may say, by some organization details. This stronghold is such a beautiful part of United States history that we do not teach or emphasize enough, that it's incredible to learn, incredibly insightful, and incredible tip to show how unique and how unique the resources of the United States has been taught. My final take home, I want everybody to understand, is that the Everglades was always a freedman's land. a freedmen's organization, and a self-sufficient colony. Remember, blacks around this time in Florida owned their own property, worked it, freed it, championed it, and did everything on their own. We are always taught in United States history from a one perspective, when in all actuality, there were multiple variants of that. Learning this, you will see why Florida became such a big deal to the United States, because the enslaved would literally leave the land all the time. So the white plantation owners kept losing money because the black slaves, the black formerly freedmen in Florida fought against it. That's why you saw the U.S. government pushing the envelope to conquer that land from the Spaniards. Knowing your history, putting it in perspectives, allows you to understand it. Good thing I get to check in with y'all. King Crowder want to wrap up on the Everglades and its beautiful history that we all should learn. I want to thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for liking. Please comment, like, or subscribe. Follow for any help, feedback, and tips. Peace.